We're here at the police's Provincial Operations Command Center for a counterfeit goods raid. Behind me are members of the police, private security, the CIPC, and SARS. We're taking down a syndicate that's been operating for more than a decade.
So we've got the vehicles, we've got the transporter in front.
This is Brigadier 𝗀𝗃𝗃. He's the commander on this raid, and both the Brigadier and I are being fitted with these body cams. That's so you can see the raid from our perspective.
Second in command, Lieutenant Colonel Wouter Diamond, has also agreed to wear a camera.
And these guys don't know we're coming, yeah?
Well, some of the stuff has been moved to secret storage facilities. That's where we're going now. But some of the shops apparently they received word that there might be an operation.
They moved the stuff to the storage facility because they thought we were coming.
It's a cat and mouse game. They've got their intelligence, we've got our intelligence.
This police unit has been operating since 2016. It's part of a national task force cracking down on a vast counterfeit industry infiltrating our economy. Although knockoff products are in plain sight, the players are secretive, and any brand from designer clothes to toiletries can be copied.
I call them fraudulent imitations. So they're made in such a way that they imitate the genuine product.
Mohammed Kader heads up the anti-counterfeit unit at law firm 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀, protecting brands from counterfeit goods.
Once a brand finds those goods in the market, or anywhere in the world for that matter, they will reach out to me and say to me, please keep a lookout in South Africa. We have a network of investigators that we use, and I would brief them to go into the market and keep an eye out for these goods.
Thousands of those knockoffs can be found here, at Joburg's infamous Fashion Square.
So we've arrived at the facility, the whole team is in position. We don't know what we're going to find here, but these guys are ready to go through reinforced concrete doors. If that fails, they're ready to go through the walls with a jackhammer.
Hey, watch your step.
Counterfeit goods are created in Southeast Asia, East Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe. So all that happens is a container would arrive at Durban Harbour, onto a train or by road to Botswana, not checked. Law enforcement in South Africa cannot stop that container. It is not destined for South Africa.
In other words, goods can bypass South African customs without being flagged.
Goods cleared in Botswana, rerouted into South Africa.
When is the first time it gets checked?
Often it never gets checked, unless law enforcement stops every container, which is not possible. Otherwise, you will pretty much stop trade.
Even a fuel truck will find either persons or counterfeit goods inside those fuel trucks' containers.
With dozens of routes into the country, Brigadier 𝗀𝗃𝗃 says cracking down on counterfeits is a significant challenge.
We've got 54 border entries into the country, land border entries. Difficult to police all of them. So we rely on our border police as well as customs and other authorities.
Other routes that's coming through is Mozambique. So Mozambique into South Africa through Lubombo border posts. It ends up in Joburg CBD.
Amongst the team are brand protectors, the investigators dispatched by firms like 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 to identify the fake items. We can't reveal their identities because they often work undercover.
We'll talk to you now, okay? They're using the jaws of life. It's locked from outside and from inside. Makes you wonder why. One thing about these guys, they don't play around. 2023 Air Force Ones.
We find one storage room after another behind reinforced doors. used by traders to safeguard a massive variety of counterfeit brands.
Louis Vuitton belts. It's a 𝗀𝗴𝗶𝗴𝗶𝘀 beanie. And 𝗀𝗴𝗏 is such a popular South African brand.
This is a vandal. And this is 𝗀𝗁𝐶𝗿𝗆𝗆.
These are Lacoste jackets. This is a Versace bag. It's all fake.
As we move through the facility, we notice security cameras in almost every corner.
Do you know where they're watching us from?
It's unnerving to think the owner of this operation could be watching us from a remote location.
The one thing that I've observed over the years is the counterfeiters are always one step ahead.
To protect their business, they will pay off people easily. That is government officials, police, customs, whoever is in their way or that can assist them. Corruption is my biggest enemy in the fight against counterfeit goods in this country of ours.
Guys, must just scan for us the roofs, eh?
We're exposed here. The thing is, in any one of these other buildings around us, there could be more counterfeits, not only being stored, but possibly being made.
Ons is naby die target nou ons. Ons gaan aan die regterkant van die pad wees.
In fact, our next target is less than 5 kilometers away.
Right now, we're going into the Joburg Mall. This is one of the most famous places in Johannesburg to buy counterfeits in bulk.
Leave the stuff, man. Move!
These operations can get volatile. Members of this unit have been attacked in the past.
That side, on that side.
This time, we're looking for consumables. Anything from toothbrushes to painkillers.
These are not legitimate pads.
And yes, sanitary pads.
The reason why this is more important than the fake clothing and sneakers is because this is not a luxury purchase. These things get sold to the poorest of the poor in spaza shops. And most times people don't have any choice but to buy them. The problem is, when it comes to this, it can cause an infection because it's fake.
It seems nothing is off limits.
It's fake Viagra. That's a whole different kind of danger. Why is it difficult to trace and intercept the counterfeit goods along that supply chain?
It's because of the clandestine manner in which they operate.
Mohammed says import papers are often faked.
We visit the premises cited on those documents, and either nobody resides there, it's a different premises entirely.
The colonel has just come in with some perfumes.
This is what they call similar confusing.
Booze. Is this supposed to be boss?
Yes.
You don't mind smelling like a booze?
I can smell it.
No, man. And Colonel, would this be made in South Africa?
It will be sent in as blanks, and probably the stickers are manufactured in South Africa.
South Africa does not have the manufacturing capabilities to manufacture certain goods. What happens is the packaging material is imported. The raw material is imported. The packing machines are imported. And you set up an assembly plant effectively.
Listen, yeah, I'm from SAPS. Do you have any kind of papers here?
Johannes Muller is a SARS investigator. Part of his role is to trace the profit from the trade in illicit goods and enforce tax compliance.
So this is a duplicate of your last transaction, eh? Where's your shop name indicated on here? It's not on here. Most of these shops that we find, they are registered for income tax. But then when you go and look at their profile, they never submit returns. If they do submit returns, they submit only null returns. What you will find if you start raising assessments on small entities like this, they will just abandon this, they will register a new business account. So they're under the radar for SARS.
It's easy money, and usually the penalties are a slap on the wrist because people think it's a faceless crime.
Amanda 𝗀𝗁𝗀𝗀 works for the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, which coordinates the raids. Back at the first building we raided, she's supervising thousands of confiscated items being loaded for transport to a counterfeit depot.
What happens to this stuff now that you're loading it up onto the truck?
In the past, we used to just destroy them totality. That stopped. The destruction of the goods is the responsibility of the rights owners.
Like the brands?
The brands. They have to pay for the destruction, they pay for the storage, and they pay for the transport.
Even though they weren't involved in the counterfeiting?
Yes, that's how it works, because they protect their reputation.
Come see you.
These men have been arrested amongst the piles of fake designer clothes.
You're selling counterfeit.
My job is staying outside.
So why are you in here?
He put here can run.
The owner?
Yeah, the one is this guy.
What's his name?
John.
Unfortunately, these are the foot soldiers. Behind them are the bosses, and they're linked to the syndicates.
But one of those faceless bosses is inching closer to the building, keeping an eye on us, and he's not alone.
So the guys that own this place have come back. He's walking down the passage now. How's it, man? Are you sure this isn't your place, man? What's your name, bro? John. Oh, you're John? Okay. Someone was talking about you upstairs. He says you're the boss.
No.
He says you called them to help them pack stuff.
No, I'm not calling this.
Looks like you have a key.
He says he was just coming here to use the toilet. John disappeared into the city streets.
Who are these people?
So in Cape Town, the Somalians run the show. In Durban, we have seen a lot of Ethiopians. In Gauteng, I think also because this is the hub where most of the people come to. There's Pakistanis involved, Ethiopians, but mostly foreigners. It's closely linked to organized crime, gun running, drugs, terrorism. It's been established in the world.
In the past, they worked with cash. Nowadays, they switch over to the electronic machines. It flows out of the country to the kingpins, to building owners that's not situated in South Africa, and it can be ending up in terror organizations.
International gangs like the Mafia and the Yakuza have taken to trafficking in counterfeits because it's a profitable industry that's seen as more socially acceptable than violent crimes.
There's currently a matter running in Durban where counterfeit goods were found in a house where they were very close linked to terrorism.
Those links are to Islamic State. Long neglected anti-counterfeit law enforcement now has political buy-in nationwide.
Do you think these guys will restock?
They might, and they've had before, but we will always come back for them. Eventually we will cut off the supply lines.
And although the real value of the industry is hard to calculate, one reason is its cost to the economy.
If you look at the worldwide numbers, in a 2002 study, is about 2.5% of international trade. That takes you just over $600 billion US.
Each bag that they throw in here gives jobs that goes out of the window. And we've lost a lot of battles in South Africa. We don't want to lose the intellectual property battle. We can't give up. Eventually, we'll get to combating or winning the war.